Assalamu alaikum. Students, I hope you are fine and in good health and in good spirits. First of all, I congratulate those of you who submitted their work. I checked it and felt that you have developed essential language skills. Uh, but please, rest of you, start doing your work. And until and unless you start doing written work, creative writing, the teacher won't be able to assess you. Inshallah, hopefully tomorrow I'll bring two video clips, stories for you. You watch it carefully and try to understand what are the beauties of a great story. Okay? But today you will be sent or given an assignment which is about subject-verb agreement. There are many areas which need to be mastered. And first of all, please do realize or do know what is the subject. The subject of a sentence is the person or thing we talk about. Okay? It may be a person, it may be a group of words, and it may be something. You have to, first of all, identify the subject of the sentence. Only then you will be able to decide whether it will take singular verb or plural verb. Now, there are so many details about subject-verb agreement, and you have to realize that very often you make a mistake just because you are a bit careless. If you are careful, if you revise your work, most probably you will be able to identify your mistake and correct it. Now please come to the topic. First of all, countable and uncountable nouns. This is a very vast subject, and I think I told you what is a countable noun and what is a uncountable noun. Please do remember all the things which can be counted, which have many of their kind or type. For example, a book, a pen, a chair, a person, they are countable nouns. For example, there is a very simple rule of the thumb that if you are in doubt, try to count it on your fingers. For example, rice. If you are not sure whether rice will take singular noun or plural, try to count it. One rice, two rices, so it will look, you will feel that this is something awkward, you may say stupid. So you can decide yourself whether a noun is singular or, a noun is countable or uncountable. Now, there are so many nouns which are considered uncountable. I have already shared this with you. For example, news is uncountable. Okay? We do not say news or news is. Then advice. Advice is again uncountable. Then information. There are some other nouns like luggage, baggage, they are uncountable. And then all the abstract nouns are generally uncountable. For example, kindness, sorrow, grief, love, hatred, they are generally uncountable. There can be a situation where they are treated as countable. Okay? But generally, they are news is, advice is, information is, what is the latest information? The information is that he has resigned. Baggage, luggage, then equipment. Our lab has the most advanced equipment. Then apparatus. Our chemistry lab has, you may say, advanced or imported apparatus. So these nouns are treated as singular, uncountable. Uncountable. Then, please, collective nouns. What happens with collective nouns? And you already know collective nouns are also called class nouns or group nouns. They have other names as well. Group nouns, class nouns, collective nouns. The rule is that if we take the collective noun as a whole, as one unit, it is treated as singular. For example, the jury has decided. It means all the members of the jury have given their unanimous decision. His family is highly educated. So we are talking about the family as a whole. Pakistani army is one of the best armies in the world. Okay? So all these class nouns, family, jury, army, police, etc., they are uncountable. Okay? But please, they can take singular verb as well as plural verb. It means they can be treated as singular and as well as plural. But please, when a collective noun is used as plural, or the verb will be plural. Do remember, when we refer to the individual members of the collective noun, okay, it becomes plural. The verb will be plural. For example, the jury have their individual lives. It means all the members of the jury have also their personal individual lives. Somebody comes to your home and the family, you are taking dinner together, all the family. Maybe your attendant who will answer the knock, he can say, the family are taking dinner. So grammatically, this is correct because he is referring to the individual members of the family. But here, please, I would like to make one clarification. The police, please do remember whenever the police or police refers to a team or a few members of the police department, it is treated as plural. The police are looking for the criminal. The police are chasing. We won't say the police is, because the police is means the whole department of the of this organization. But the police are means a few members, a few, you may say, units of the same organization, they are doing something. Okay? Then please, there are other issues with the subject-verb agreement. Collective nouns, we have talked about it. Okay? Then the names of diseases. There are certain diseases which look like plural, but because that is the name of a disease, it will be treated as singular. For example, measles. Measles are, no, measles is a contagious disease. Contagious means any disease that spreads through contact. Okay? Then there can be other actually disease, measles. Then there is another word which has to be used carefully. People. Wrong. If somewhere you come across peoples, it means different nations of the world. For example, we say in the United Nations, all the peoples of the world have their representatives. It means different nations. Then there are certain words which cause problem in the use of verb. Few, a few. Okay? Then a little and little. Please do remember, when we use the word a few, it means some. Some. Similarly, a little, once again, it has positive meaning and it means some. But when few is used without a article, okay, then it means none. Few people know about this. It means there is almost nobody who knows this. Then there is another word which can cause problem. Please do remember the word the number. The word number can be preceded by the or a. But the rule is, if we say the number, then it becomes singular. The number of students is. The number of vehicles on the roads today is. But if it is preceded by a number of people are, a number of visitors are waiting. So the article sometimes can make the difference. Then one very important thing, I already discussed it with you, but even then some of you made mistakes with correlatives. You already know what are correlatives. These are the linking words which are always used together, which are used in pairs, and they are always there. For example, either, or, neither, nor, not only, but also. But please do remember, the simple rule is that your verb will agree with the subject which is closer to the verb. Or we can simply say which comes later, which comes later. Either my friends or my sister. So because the second subject is sister, then the verb will agree with sister, which is singular. Okay? The same is the rule with neither, nor, either, or, not only, but also. But here, please, one more clarification. Sometimes we also link words with and please do recall, I think I have already discussed some of these rules with you in a previous lecture. Just repeating it. Please do remember, whenever in a sentence we link two subjects, the rule is the verb will agree with the first one. The principal as well as the teachers. So as the teachers, now you are very likely to say that because it is teachers, the verb should be plural, but the verb has to agree with the principal. The principal as well as my teachers is. The principal, along with some teachers, was walking through the corridor. Okay? Then please, there are certain other issues which can cause problem with your writing, and they are conditional sentences. Now please listen. This is something very common. You have been learning them for many, many years, conditional sentences. We also call them if clauses. If clauses. Sentences having if clauses. The rule is, actually, there are three types of, there are so many others, but mainly we say, or generally we say, there are three different types of conditional sentences, but there are so many others. Generally, or mainly, we discuss the three main types of conditional sentences. Type number 1, type number 2, and type number 3. What happens in type number 1? Please listen. In type number 1, if clause is in simple tense, or we may say if clause is in simple indefinite tense, it puts the condition. For example, if you work hard, you will succeed. If you go to his office, he will advise you. Okay? So this is type 1. What you have to keep in your mind, sometimes we can write the conditional sentence in inverse form. If it is, if the if clause comes first, it will be separated from the main clause with the comma. Okay? if you promise to be careful, because there is a pause, comma, I will let you drive my car. Type 1. In type 1, once again, I repeat it. The conditional clause, if clause, is in simple present tense, okay? And the main clause is in future, having will or shall, okay? This was about type 1. Then type 2. In type 2, if clause or conditional clause is in simple past or past indefinite. Okay? If clause, for example, if he went there, okay, this is type number 2. The conditional clause or if clause is in simple past, past indefinite. And the main will be in conditional. By conditional we mean use of would or should. So this is about type 2. In type 2, if clause or conditional clause is in simple past and the main clause is in conditional. Use of would and should. This was about type 2. Then type 3. In type 3, the conditional clause or if clause is in past perfect, use of had. And the main clause is in conditional perfect. By conditional perfect, we mean the use of would and would have and should have. Okay. So please do remember when you are writing conditional clauses, you have to be careful about the tense as well as about the punctuation. Okay. Then there are certain other points, and this is a very, very common mistake. The use of second form or third form after do, does, did. What you have to keep in your mind that we always use first form of the verb after do, please do remember, do, does, and did always take first form of the verb. I have already written notes on the work of some of you that after do, does, did always use first form of the verb. I didn't tell, told नहीं हो सकता. Then after now please listen. This mistake is very common, very common, very skilled students make this mistake. And please, one more thing, if you make one type of mistake in your work, in your writing, it is very likely that you will take a lot of time and practice to get rid of it. It is very difficult because you have been learning English language for so many years and it has become a part of you. For example, if you use second form of the verb after do, does, did, it has become your unconscious habit. This is very difficult. The teacher can point out your problem, but you have to be very conscious, very careful about your mistakes. Then after has, have, had, or you may say after perfect tenses, we always use third form of the verb. Okay? And there is another clarification after to. If you are using infinitive to again always takes first form of the verb. And I don't think many of you make this mistake that you use second or third form after to. To go is correct. To work is correct. To went is wrong. This mistake is not very common. And please here also remember that after modal verbs, what are modal verbs? So these are modal verbs: will, would, shall, should, may, might, can, could, must. The rule is all the modal verbs always take first form of the verb. Will go, okay? Would go, shall go, should go, may go, might go, can go, could go, must go. Okay? So keep in this your mind that after modal verbs, we always use first form of the verb. Then there is another point. Please keep in your mind that the consistency of the tense, for example, if you are writing a narrative, the whole narrative should be in the same tense. I have already told you that only very skilled writers can write the story in the present tense. There are many examples in literature where great writers have written all the narrative in present tense. But you should not experiment with this because very likely you will be shifting from present into past and past into present. Therefore, it is advised that keep the past tense consistent in your narrative. Okay? And one more point, and that is the last point, please. Sometimes what happens, you are not sure about the subject. Please listen. If you start your sentence with one should do one's duty. One should do his duty is wrong. One should do her duty wrong. One is followed by one. Keep this thing in your mind. Okay? Then if you begin your sentence with you, keep you consistent. Okay? Then as sometimes, especially when you are writing maybe some scientific experiment, generally they use you do this and then this will happen. You have to be consistent with you. Okay? And here, last point, please. Indefinite pronouns. Please do remember, indefinite pronouns are somebody, nobody, anybody, anyone, someone, no one, none. They all are singular. They all are singular. Okay? So that's all for today. Please, you have been sent a worksheet for today. Do it very carefully. Okay? Keep in your mind what you are talking about. If you keep this thing in your mind, what is the sentence about, very likely you will not be making any mistake. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please do ask. मुश्किल ही है, कोई पूछेंगे ना. अच्छा. Yes, please. Come up with your questions. Do not hesitate. Maheen, do you have any question? Jashveen? Good.